Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. No, that title's not clickbait. We're going to discuss the ways that you can actually make yourself rich. And these are proven. I'm not going to use the G word, guaranteed. At the same token, they might as well be. The best way to get rich, and this is demonstrated by all the tech billionaires out there, is to get in on the ground floor of a product. Bill Gates, smart fella, I'm not going to take anything away from him, made his fortune, excuse me, because when IBM was getting ready to launch their first personal computer, their operating system wasn't ready to go. They turned to him, and Bill Gates and his partners were able to crank out MS-DOS. Because of that, Bill Gates has basically been piloting his own ship towards destiny. Now, Bill Gates didn't quite do it alone. His mother was working on the board of IBM, and that's where he got the tip. That's where he got the opportunity. Why can't I think of the name of the other founder of Apple? It doesn't matter. Same situation. It's always romanticized about two guys in their car building computers. But in reality, they were able to use a garage to build their computers because they had money lying around. These were not two poor kids messing around. Circuit boards were hell expensive back then. I'm a little older than I'm going to tell you, but back in the 1990s, I was building my own computers and ran a small computer business. By then, the tech boom was evolving, so I was kind of in the wrong wave. But I can tell you there was a lot of money to be made if you got the right contracts. I had a contract with one company for reasons' sake. I'm not going to disclose who or how or what was happening, but they were paying me to take their computers off of their home-built network and convert them to standalones. So, you know what I got paid to do? Take the computer apart, take their homemade piece of equipment out, put it back in, reinstall the latest version of Windows. I forget whether it was 3 or whatever the heck it was. Maybe it was 95. Anyway, I got paid to sit there and rip computers apart, and it was pretty good. I could basically sit there, have a cup of coffee. Is it done yet? No. Okay. And then a couple weeks later, turn them back in and got paid a pretty decent amount. Then I could sell that hardware at bargain basement prices to somebody who actually wanted it. So it was a win-win for me. And that's kind of the second way to get rich. You have to use other people's money. This is what the hedge fund managers do. They take your money, your deposit, whatever you have, your stock portfolio, your mutual fund, and they basically go gambling with it. Now, gambling's a bit of a severe word, but it's true. Every day they go, they study the analytics, they do everything they can, but yeah, they're not perfect. And that's why we have occasional crashes. But realistically, other people's money is the best way to get rich because it involves other people's money. Whether you're managing a stock portfolio, whether you are a minority shareholder in a corporation, whatever it is, whenever you can leverage somebody else's money, you do it. The best example of this would probably be a mutual fund, although you're never going to get rich on mutual funds, trust me. Mutual funds are run for a return of about 7 to 9% per year, roughly. Your individual statistics may vary. And that's what they're designed to do. It's a safe place to park money. And that's what the rich do differently. When they see an opportunity, they go for it, but mostly they're there to protect their money, to make sure they don't lose anything. That's their main focus. And that's why you get a Bill Gates who revolutionized an industry versus, who's a good example? The owner of the Carolina Panthers. His name escapes me at the moment. And he's a hedge fund millionaire, billionaire, maybe even a trillionaire. I'm having a bad time remembering names today. Oh well, Silverlight is only human. But this has to make you wave, or ask, but Silverlight, isn't there another way to make money? And there is. And it's the most difficult. It's to capitalize on a trend. You notice on my little model today, I have the hospital out front. Well, medical technology is big right now. And you know how they're saying, oh yeah, we need nurses and doctors and everything. Yeah, they do need nurses and doctors, but during the pandemic, a lot of governments put together programs to have people put together facilities to manufacture the vaccine. And these governments have put together 5, 10, 20 year plans to make sure that people will be producing vaccines and other laboratories locally. So if in 2020 you had access to some sort of warehouse space and access to some sort of ability to manufacture these things, the government would have paid your freight for you. You would have hired some employees, you would have put the setup capital, submitted your application, boom, they would have kept you going with guarantees for life. So medical technology is always worth a look. The nurses and the doctors are, believe it or not, the worst paid, aside from maybe laboratory technicians and stuff like that. But the thing is, that's old news. The new wave is always important. Like I said, I was one of the pioneers with computers because I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. So computers, yeah, I understand what a motherboard is. I understand what a video connection is. I understand all that. Where I missed out is I did not look at networking. I knew what networking was for, but we would have LAN parties and that was about as far as it went. I never really learned about HTML and switching IPs and stuff like that. That was my failing. That was the next big boom. And we had the big dot-com bust around 2002, and then again around 2008 when Facebook and YouTube and all these places took over. That was another boom. If you were on YouTube during that time, and provided you weren't doing crazy things, actually better yet, if you're doing crazy funny things, you got yourself an audience. We know the fate of those people. They've got millions of subscribers, millions of views, and they're making pretty good money. Facebook, well, it's just one of the most profitable companies in the world. What can I say about that? Because they jumped on a trend and saw ahead of time. Facebook was not unique. There was, oh my goodness, what was it before Facebook? MySpace, that's it. MySpace was around before Facebook. It's just Facebook did it better and their name was easier. So people remember Facebook over MySpace. YouTube, there were kind of streaming services coming along, but YouTube, pardon me, I'm not sick, it's allergy season. YouTube was offering a service where you could log on and stream videos with a minimum of technical innovation. Streaming itself comes from the late 90s when a bunch of students wanted to know if their coffee was done brewing. So they set up a streaming camera, and that's where all the modern technology has evolved from. Well, there were video sharing services around before YouTube. They just simply did not have the mass appeal, the catchy web address, that kind of thing. And YouTube basically pioneered those things. They were first to the market with a new technology. Now, if you notice all these things from 2002 to 2022, it's all web-based stuff. So unless you have the next killer app, realistically, web-based stuff is yesterday's news. In order to get rich, you need to spot the next trend. What's it going to be? I wish I knew how to tell you. I'm looking at a 10 to 20 year time frame at retail space. Because if you can figure out what to do with it and it won't be retail, then that's a huge market that can be capitalized. It's going to suck losing all those cashier positions and janitorial positions, but at the same token, the opportunity will be there that simply is not there now. They'd probably make great homeless shelters. They'd probably make a whole lot of really good places to do stuff. But if you can figure out a way to monetize it, all the better. So let's look at the ways that you can get rich. We didn't cover this, but inheriting your wealth. Yeah. Secondly, innovate something new. Thirdly, capitalize on your business connections through your friends, parents, etc. And fourthly, other people's money. And the last one is probably the most effective. How can you get involved in this? Probably can't if you're listening to this video. And that's a shame because the most successful strategy is not available to most people. Capitalism is not fair. And I say that saying, right now it's the best system that we have. Laissez-faire capitalism should be avoided at all costs, but regular capitalism does pretty good. Of course, we lack competition to it. There's no such thing as a true socialist or communist state in the world. They're almost all fascist, and fascism does work, just not as well as capitalism. So we need to start looking at a new theory. Since people are able to exploit the system and get rich, how can we spread those benefits around without becoming totalitarian? And that's the real mystery, because we want people to benefit. We want the person down the street to have the same groceries that we have, or whatever they like, whatever they prefer, because it's kind of a human right to be able to feed yourself in the way that you want. My wife is a Filipina, and I love her to death. She's a great cook. Same token, there's some things that she eats, and I'm just like, what on earth is that? And just look up some Filipina cuisine, and you'll know what I mean. And she cooks wonderfully, but there's just some things that we do not agree on as far as taste goes, and I imagine every couple is like that. One member likes liver, the other one hates it. But that's a minor compromise between two people. Imagine an entire city block, especially a multicultural city block. It opens up opportunities because you can sell more stuff to more people, but it also opens up inequalities. If somebody came from China and wanted durian fruit, which you can look it up, it's very difficult for them to get it without a Chinese-friendly community. And even if it's you and I, and we both want hamburger, and there's only enough hamburger for one of us, the richer of us is probably going to be the one that winds up with it. And that's part of innovation, learning how to spot a market, spot a need, and figure out how you can invest yourself in it, how to monetize it. I think that's as long as my voice is going to let me talk at the moment, so we'll leave you with that. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show over my allergies. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to buy the books listed down in the description, and we hope you have a fantastic day.